I'm going to talk about the new birth because many people don't understand why we need to be born again. I think I talk about the new birth in one of the videos, but this will be very short so that even people who didn't go to school can understand this. So just remember Genesis 1:26-27. Adam the man was the image of the creator, so he was eternal, so he was the logos, so he was the image of the creator. And then that man, the man, so was put in a form body, flesh, and the Lord put the spirit in it. That's why we are three parts: the flesh, the spirit, and the eternal part they call the soul. So the soul is a real you, is the soul, is that eternal part that comes from eternity, and he put in Adam the man he formed. That's how it is written in Genesis chapter 1:26 and Genesis 2:7, the flesh man. So there is a difference between the spiritual man who came first and then the flesh man after. But what Lucifer did, he will mess up this plan. Instead of coming from the spirit first and then the flesh, what Lucifer did through Eve, what he did, he came to pervert this order. And so by Eve, Satan introduced first through dad and mom the forming of the flesh body. The flesh body is your house. So that is formed in your mom. And then at birth, now you see, at birth now, a spirit comes from eternity. So the soul comes from eternity. The image of the Lord comes from eternity and come occupy that house that comes from your dad and mom at your birth. So either you get, I keep saying this, either at your birth you get the soul, the image of Christ, the representation of Christ in you, or you get the image of Satan. So a demon come in you at birth. So the soul. So, and the purpose of that spirit that come from eternity to get into that newborn is to take a form, because the spirit doesn't have a form. So when that spirit come into the newborn here, the purpose of that spirit there is to take a form, a picture of the outside of you. That's how the inside, that soul, that image of Christ will look like you when you were at your young age. So this is the perverted way. So flesh is formed in the womb of your mom through dad and mom, which is sin. And then a spirit come from eternity, get into that newborn, or a spirit come from hell and get into that baby. So if the spirit come from hell, that child can live a holy life. I keep saying this. That child can live a holy life. That person can live a holy life, a pure life, can be religious, can be even a pastor. He can even get a spiritual gift. But since his soul came from hell, that soul is the soul of unbelief. That soul will never believe. That person will never see or believe or accept the word of his generation. The word that is being preached for his generation. I will give an example. So those who didn't listen to Noah, it means all their souls came from hell. That's why they couldn't enter into the ark. So the same thing, people who perish in the desert when Israel was in the first Exodus, because we had 3 Exodus. in the first Exodus, although they were all children of Israel, but in the desert they perished because they didn't believe the word of their day, Moses. So that word was to enter into Palestine or the promised land. So since they didn't obey to that, they show that their soul didn't come from eternity. So their soul came from hell. That's why they disobeyed the word of God. Although they live a good life, they were pure, they were holy because they were children of Israel. So they were holy in their flesh, in their spirit, but the soul here was dirty, the soul of Satan. So, and then listen now, Jesus now has to come to correct the way we come. How? So the Lord himself came to anoint to Mary. Mary was from a flesh body without dad and mom union. A flesh body was created, a body was created, a temple was created, a tabernacle was created, a house was created in Mary. Remember, Adam was created, the flesh man was created. Here also Jesus, the second Adam, was created in the womb of Mary. So at age of 30, now himself, not a portion of the Lord, not an image of the Lord, not a seed of the Lord, but himself, the creator, the almighty Jehovah, came to dwell in this own temple he created in Mary to correct what Satan has been doing in human race for the past years. So he came from eternity himself, he came from heaven himself, Jehovah, to dwell in a new body created. He couldn't come in his fullness in Moses. He couldn't come in his fullness in Adam. He couldn't come in his fullness, in Abraham or Elisha or Moses or Solomon or David, because everyone who is born from dad and mom, his flesh is sinful. The Lord can't occupy that body in his fullness. That's why he created a body in Mary of himself, so he can come and dwell in to pay the price. To pay the price. So I will talk about the mystery of the price in another video. So the new birth now will be, remember, everyone who died in the Old Testament, they were going to paradise. Those who were the elect, they were going to paradise. And the paradise was imprisoned by Satan. But when Jesus died at the cross, he went to free the paradise and took them to the sixth dimension. And those who died from the cross of Jesus, up to 1963, very important. The data are very important because the Lord is in numbers. 1963, from the cross, the guy was with Jesus at the cross. Until 1963, everyone who died in between, when they were dying, their flesh returned to dust, and their spirit returned to the Lord, but their soul was going into the sixth dimension. So their soul, remember, the purpose of the soul coming in a newborn is to take a form. So those souls now are called theophany, or the image of the Lord, the real you. So really you, look like you, but like when you were young, 17 if you are a girl, 21 if you are a boy. There's a reason why 17, a reason why 21. So what happened in 1963, what happened is now all those souls that were their souls, or the theophany, or those people who were waiting there in the sixth dimension for the resurrection. So the Lord brought them down. Is that what is written in First Thessalonians, First First Thessalonians 4:16, you will see it go down that the Lord come down with everyone. He brought them down, brought down all the souls, all the theophany, if you want, all the people who didn't have a house, who didn't have a body, but they have a spiritual body. And he came and gave them a new body. So a created body in 1963. A body was created to give to all the souls. So that new body, the created body, is called also a temple, a tabernacle, a new house. It's also called white robe, or your robe, a new one. So eternal one. So the new birth is that soul that was resting in the sixth dimension came to put on a new body, created one, a new body. And this body, remember, this body also looks like you. So your soul look like you, and this external body is also your envelope, look like you. So both, they get together. So that's what they call the new birth. You have a new house. Your soul put on a new house. Satan's plan was to start with the flesh, and then the spirit come occupy the flesh. The plan of the Lord started with the spirit and then the flesh. That's why at the resurrection, he started with the spirit, the spiritual man who was resting in the sixth dimension. He brought all those spiritual men to come into the created flesh. And that's the new birth. Because the first birth through mom is a sin. In sin, my mom conceived me. In iniquity, I was given birth to. So I was born in sin, conceived in iniquity, Psalm 51. So, and the second birth is from heaven. The second birth is your parents have nothing to do with it. So the second birth, the inside of you belong to the Lord, and the created body also belong to the Lord, created by the Lord. The same thing he did to Adam. The first man, which was the spiritual man of Adam, came from the Lord, and the form body also came from the Lord. Adam had no father, he has no mother on earth. Eve has no father, no mother on earth. The same thing, this body also has no mother, no father on earth. So everything, the inside of you and your flesh body, all belong to the Lord, and all are eternal. Nothing to do with any human being. So you understand the new birth. So you can't be born here on earth. No. The first birth is sin. That's why this flesh dies. And once your flesh dies, it will never come back again. It returns to dust, molecule, and atoms. And when this earth is burned through the Gog and Magog, it will disappear and return to atom and molecule. So the second birth is the resurrection, if you want. The second birth is the resurrection. What is the resurrection? The resurrection is the union between your real soul that was resting in the sixth dimension and the created body, the new body. That union is what they call a resurrection. That's the invisible union. That's the new you. That's the brother of Jesus. That's the son. That's the sister of Jesus. That's the son of God. That's the daughter of God. The son of God is not you, the flesh man. No, there's no human flesh who is the son of God, the daughter of God. Doesn't exist. The son of God, or Jesus was called the son of God because he was created. He didn't come from dad and mom. He was created. That's why they said the only unique the only unique, begotten, unique Son of God. Unique, because he was created. That flesh was created, unique. And the Lord wanted to reproduce other sons as he created Jesus. That's why he said himself, the Lord said, if the grain of wheat doesn't fall on the ground, it remains alone. So, and that's why Jesus has to die. So at the end, you can have many brothers and sisters. So the brother and the sister of Jesus Christ is not you, the human being. No, the brother and the sister, the son of God or the daughter of God is this new body united to the real you, your soul that was resting in the sixth dimension. So everything here happened in 1963. But the mystery is, and the question, if you are smart enough, the question you will tell me, but we are in 2024, and then what happened to people born after 1963? That's a good question. We have an answer for that. And I will tell you what happened for people who born after 1963. So people who were born after 1963, they were coming. So just I will give you just an introduction. It was just a body. Your dad and mom, your dad and mom form a body in your mom, and just when the body comes, it comes for the elect. I'm talking here for the elect. The body comes out with the spirit without the soul. But in the soul there is a representation. So there's nothing there, just the representation of the real you that is already there in eternity. So we'll talk about it so you can understand. After 1963, some people were born with a soul. After 1963, if you were born with a soul, it means that soul came from hell. So that's why you can't believe the word of the Lord. So I will explain it. It's very important for people born after 1963, so you can understand what happened. So that's what I want to say.